Modern worship music is constantly changing, growing, and evolving. As worship piano and keys players or worship leaders, it can be a really tough moving target to keep up with all the incredible sounds we hear all over modern worship music. This video is about making a prediction to help you. I think we have found a sound that is going to show up all over modern worship music over the next year. It's inspired by one of the most popular synthesizers of all time, but it hasn't even been available for sale for almost 3 decades. And because it uses samples, you cannot just go find one, sample it, and put it inside of your new software. But it sounds so incredible. It sounds lush, warm, bright, chimey, all at once. There's really never been another synthesizer like it. I'm talking about the Roland D-50. The Roland D-50 emerged out of the soup of analog synthesis switching to digital FM synthesis right at the same time as computers and memory were finally affordable enough for them to afford to put, tiny little memory chips inside of the first digital sampling synthesizers. But because memory was still so expensive, they could only put in enough to have tiny little milliseconds, half seconds of audio in each sound. So the incredible sound designers at Roland invented the D-50. It used a new type of synthesis called LA synthesis, which stood for linear arithmetic synthesis. What they did was groundbreaking. They realized that the first few samples of any instrument, the beginning of any note, was really how the human ear decided what they were hearing. It's the attack of the pick hitting a guitar string that convinces us we're listening to a guitar, and then it fades out with a lot less nuance than that initial attack. So they used the limitations of memory to create this hybrid style of synthesis called LA synthesis. What they did was they sampled very, very short attacks called transients. The very first few samples of each sound in the D-50 would be a real sampled instrument, so a trumpet, strings, an organ, even a piano. And then they would merge in this sort of analog tail in the sustain. Now they were just working around the limitations of the hardware they had, but the results were inspiring and unique. Today's synths don't have any such limitations. You can get near infinite memory to store hundreds of velocity layers of samples if you really wanted to. But there's something special about the D-50 because it came out of necessity. And then the sound designers at Roland, shout out to Eric Persing, who voiced the D-50, now the founder and owner of Spectrasonics, who you may have heard of. These presets are just incredible, and there's never really been anything like it ever since. But because there are samples at the heart of the D-50, we could not do what we've done with other classic analog synthesizers like the Juno 60. We couldn't go borrow one, source one, or buy one and sample it. Roland owns all of those samples, so it wouldn't be right for us to go out and create copies of them. It wouldn't be legal at all. So instead, what we've set out to do is be inspired by the ideas and artificially place those limitations on ourselves. How could we pretend that we were creating the D-50 all from scratch? So we've come up with an entire new set of sounds, all inspired by the D-50, but created from our own custom sampled sound sources. The results are really inspiring. We think the D-50 is going to experience a renaissance across not just worship music, but pop and all other genres as well. And I'm excited that these sounds are going to be there for people to use in their own worship teams. Now, we're still finalizing these sounds. I'm actually just pulling them up in their raw form. But because we think this sound is going to be so fresh and emerging in a lot of worship music over the next 12 months, I wanted to give you a first look at them right now. So I'm going to go through about 10 of these different sounds. You're going to feel this nostalgia as you listen to them. I'm excited for you to check them out. So that's a taste of how we were inspired by the Roland D-50, and maybe you could go check out the Roland D-50's original sounds for yourself and then see if you can notice them on upcoming worship songs that you hear. Now, every sound I just demoed for you is now or soon will be available inside of Sunday Keys in the Mainstage, Ableton Live, and Sunday Keys app formats. So if you want to learn more about Sunday Keys, click the link in the description. I'm also going to link up a video from another YouTuber. It's a guy named Dr. Mix who did a super fun video with an actual original D-50. He plays through some of the most famous patches on the D-50. Many of them are so recognizable that you're going to immediately know what songs they were used on. And when you make that connection between the instrument and how it was such a core part of a specific song, it's just really fun. So we'll link up that video from Dr. Mix as well. We don't know him, it's just a super fun video. And if you're inspired by the idea and the history of this classic synth, you gotta go check it out. If you enjoyed this video, let us know what you'd like to see in the next one. If you're a worship keys player or worship leader, be sure to subscribe. Thanks for supporting us here at Sunday Sounds. Have a great day.